If you change your relation with your world, your eyes, your touch, your senses in general, then you are changing completely your reality.
Hello, and welcome to Life with a Lama Healer. Today, our guest is Jose Maria Arrocena. I'm so honored to have him as our guest. I've known him many years. Jose Maria is from Spain and grew up in the Basque country in Spain and now lives in Malaga, Spain. And he's a graduate of mathematics and was a mathematics teacher for many years in Spain. And after a really tragic accident that left him paralyzed, he has lived his life in a wheelchair and has this incredible story of transforming this difficulty into an incredible story of resiliency and a shift in perspective of how to live one's life in a meaningful, joyful, happy way, even in the face of a trauma like that. So he met Lama Gangchen in the 1980s and traveled with Lama Gangchen all over the world, even to places that were, really difficult to travel for anyone, let alone someone in a wheelchair, in India and Nepal and Indonesia. And he became Lama Gangchen's translator throughout Spain and South America. And so he would travel with Lama Gangchen, and when he was teaching or at the different congresses or working with people to heal them, he was his translator, and he also translated several books for Lama Gangchen as well. So Jose Maria is a member of the board of directors of Lama Gangchen World Peace Foundation, which is based in Madrid. And he was also one of the early developers of Albignano Healing Meditation Center in Italy. And he now is the director of a new Dharma center, retreat center in Granada, in the mountainside, called Seringjang. So please join me in welcoming Jose Maria to our show. We're really excited about this podcast, about the life of the great Tibetan Lama, Lama Gangchen Tulku Rinpoche, who was born in 1941 in Tibet and trained by many of the greatest Tibetan masters. He traveled to the West in the 1980s, bringing with him the inner peace teachings of the Buddha. Lama was one of the greatest living humanitarians and spiritual masters of our time, and part of an unbroken lineage dating all the way back 2,500 years to Shakyamuni Buddha. So our vision in creating this podcast is really to preserve and share the remarkable stories about Lama Gangchen's extraordinary life. We'll interview senior students and longtime followers who worked with Lama Gangchen, traveled with him, studied with him, witnessed and experienced his incredible healings and miracles. So these stories, they're really precious jewels and inspire us to really see what's possible when we follow the inner peace teachings of the Buddha. So it's a real honor and privilege to bring these stories to you and the methods that really help us to reframe our sufferings, which brings us more inner calm, the ability to be more in the present moment with less stress and anxiety and fear, and experience more joy in our life and more peaceful in our life and more meaning really in our life. So please stay tuned for our conversations from this very rich spiritual heritage coming out of Tibet and the incredibly joyful, inspiring, mind-blowing, funny, touching stories about the remarkable life of a Lama healer, our beloved Lama Gangchen. Life with a Lama healer. Okay, Jose Maria, welcome to our podcast, Life with a Lama Healer. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And I've known you, more than 25 years, I think. And the first time I met you was in Bani di Luca, Italy, when I went on my first long retreat with Lama Gangchen. So welcome.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
I'm honored to be here.
Wonderful. Preserving these precious stories. And I know you have so many about your life studying and working for Lama Gangchen, with Lama Gangchen. Please, could you tell us, how did you meet Lama?
Well, My life is quite particular because I have a kind of privilege. I have two lives in one, in the way that until I was 26 years old, I was mathematics teachers in the high school. I was a very active person, socially speaking. I was a very rationalist mind person, and suddenly one day after finishing 1 year of teaching, I got a car accident and then I broke my backbone and I got paralyzed from the chest below. Then my life changes completely. Then 11 months at the hospital and all my image and all my projects, everything was completely destroyed in one night. No,
Wow. And how old were you?
I was 26 years old.
26. Wow.
And was quite a traumatic experience for me. I took it to very strong attitude in the way that I was working at the hospital, very much in rehabilitation, and I was making a lot of exercises and a lot of, I was doing all my part, but the result was I didn't got back any movement of my legs, and half of my body is out of my rational control. No, I'm still a unity, like a body, and it depend how I feel or how I experience things. My, let's say, non-sensitive part of the body express it. But anyway, I have a very difficult time. And then in this process, I took it very seriously in the way that I went back living alone in the mountains. I split with my girlfriend because I couldn't endure that she was suffering for me in the way that I was mistreating her, because when I fell down from the wheelchair or I have some problems anywhere, I kind of blame her. I was mistreating her. Then when I realized she was crying, then I said, okay, we need to stop this. I cannot continue like this. Then I remember I brought her to the train station and then she went back to her city. I was living in the northern side of Spain, close to San Sebastian in the French border. And I started living alone without any plan. But I took it very honestly in the way that I look at to my disability face to face. No.
Yes.
Then I met Rinpoche 9 years later because my accident was in 1980, and I met Rinpoche 1989.
Mm.
In between, I have many experiences with my personal process, which is not the right moment to explain about them, I think. But when I met Rinpoche, I could understand them. I mean, I met Rinpoche because somebody told me, oh, a Lama healer is coming to San Sebastian to receive sick people, no, people with difficulties, and he's a Lama healer, very famous, very, very powerful. Then I put myself in the list. He was invited by a Dharma group in San Sebastian. And then I offer myself because I was already practicing Dharma and following some kind of practice, not very clearly, very steady practice, but I was slowly getting into it. No?
Yeah. So you were interested already in spirituality and meditation, Buddhism.
Well, it took me 3 years after I got this accident, but slowly I started reading Dharma books. And I remember I went to England because I heard the disabled people, they were riding horses, countryside. Really? Yeah, I was so in love in the countryside way of life. I wanted to ride horses because when I was a kid, I rode horses, no?
Yes.
Then a friend of mine told me, I'm going to England also because there is a Lama there, which was, by the way, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso.
Ah, yes.
He's going to give one course in death and impermanence in the northern England, in Manjusri Institute. Then I say, okay, great. Then you go to your Lama course, and then I go to ride these horses because close to that place was this castle where a very rich woman was, let's say, letting her horses in the weekend for the disabled of the area. No,
Wow.
I rode that in a couple of hours, and then I learned how they did. Then I went back to Manjusri Institute in the Lake District of England to pick up my friend. No? Then they told me, oh, there is a Lama that's speaking about death. My English was even worse than now, but I couldn't follow a little bit because the translator of this Lama was a Spanish nun, Mariana, and then she was translating for me what the Lama was explaining.
Wow, beautiful.
For me, it was amazing because it was the same process that I follow at the hospital. No, somehow in this process, I have, let's say, different experiences. The first one was one morning, I remember, after this experience in this Buddhist institute, I was in my country house alone. I woke up in the morning and I remember that the sun was coming into the room and making a very nice picture, then I got these goosebumps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I say, oh, I'm alive. I can get excited because I like a nice picture. I love music. I like women very much. I like to chat. Then I'm alive.
Yes.
Then I start to say, oh, let's experience what I can and forget about what I cannot.
Oh, wow.
And this was my first turning, no?
Yeah, transformation.
Yeah, where I understood that when you have a difficult or traumatic experience, this experience is not only taking things apart from you, it's not only blocking you, but also is giving you something at the
Yes.
same time. That depends the perspective you see.
Yes.
This was step by step. I start opening my mind to a different perspectives and dharma from a better, let's say, a proper point of view. No,
Seeing what you really had in your life versus what you didn't have.
exactly. As I was so rationalist, I didn't like this kind of mantra recitation and this kind of Tibetan trip. No, I didn't like so much. Then I decided, okay, I need to see what the normal Tibetan people, how they live their lives. Then I went to India, and there I understood something so important for me. No, I tell you, these kind of things I made up after when I met Rinpoche, when I start to, let's say, think about them. I start to understand what really happens to me in those times. I remember very well when I went to India, people used to express their completely different perspective about life. No, they have more understanding of karma or understanding of cause and effects, and everything that happens to you is related to you. These kind of things, no.
Yeah, they have a deeper understanding.
Different understanding means what the scientific point of view says. In my case, I was driving by night, was oil on the road, my car slipped, and I fell down into a river.
Yes.
When I tried to get out from the car, I couldn't because my back was damaged. Then I spent there all night long. Then, from the scientific point of view, I was the unlucky one that I passed in that very moment was oil. Then, okay, you got an accident. Period. Nothing else. Okay, this is one approach. Then, what I learned in the Dharma point of view, or in Asia, generally speaking, they said, well, everything that happens to you is related to you. Maybe they can say, you put the cause and this is the result.
Yes.
You put the cause and this is the effect. Maybe you did something wrong in your life that you are experiencing a kind of suffering in this life. I was not so far, but I understood if these things is related to my life, is related to the way I live, maybe I can learn something from it. Maybe I can take some kind of advantage from it.
Yes.
Then this is the second part where I started not to open to my body and say, okay, I'm not a sick person. My body is like this. I accept it. Not only that, the second step is like, okay, maybe I can take some kind of benefit from this situation.
Yes.
Actually, Geshe Kelsan told me immediately, no, the last day in this Buddhist institute, I was ready to go. Then this nun told me, oh, you want to say goodbye to Geshe? I said, yes, yes, sure. Then I went there, and then he asked me what happened to me. When I explained to him all the things that happens to me, and he said, do you have any pain, or you got a pension, or you have any person on your charge? I mean, you have any responsibility, familiar responsibility? No, no, nothing. Okay, then he remained silent for a while, and he started laughing and laughing and laughing, really laughing, and said, oh, you are so lucky. You are so lucky. I would like to be like you. You have no trouble. You have no problem with the money. You can do whatever you like. You're free.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere. You can learn to whatever you like. You can help people. You can go to anything. Then I didn't really understand. But
Yeah.
later on, slowly, slowly, I tried to see which he meant.
From his point of view.
Yeah,
Incredible. Like a total reframe.
exactly.
And it's true.
It's true in the way that you are able to make it true, no?
Yeah. To see this. Yes.
Yeah, to see which is the positive side of everything, no? Then it is true I have very good life conditions. I have a pension because I make my teacher examinations. Then you get a place in the high school to teach for you all your life.
Yes.
Then when I got the accident, I got the benefit of the pension of this kind of position. No.
Yeah. Benefit from Spanish government. Yeah.
Then I go back to San Sebastian. This is like a bad movie. I'm going forward, backward. I don't know if you're following me. I hope you
I'm
are.
following. It's beautiful. I love this story. And also very helpful, your story, because many people experience traumatic things. They might be, psychological traumatic things or something that happened in their family, or like you, an accident where you're paralyzed. But many people experience traumas or suffering. And it's very helpful to learn how to reframe these, and this is where I think Buddhism is so incredibly helpful. Because like you said, everything has the negative and the positive.
Yeah.
And to learn how to live the life where you have a perspective that gives you more life, more vitality, more inner peace. So this is beautiful what you're sharing with us.
And a sense in your life, no? What for?
Yeah. Purpose.
Yeah, the purpose in life for them is to raise children or to get a lot of money or to be famous or to be rich. I don't know. For me, at that very moment, I was completely lost.
Yes.
I was completely lost. My mind was up and down. Then I offered myself to help when this healer, Lama Gangchen, was coming to San Sebastian. And then Lama Gangchen came by train from Milano to Barcelona. In Barcelona, he met some patient or whatever. Then from Barcelona to San Sebastian, he went by train. I went to the train station to pick up him.
And this is your first time you met him?
Yeah. And then I was there close to the train. And then he went down from the train, looked at me like this, and he didn't say anything because actually I didn't talk, no? Just exchanged our glances or whatever, and then he continues. Then for 1 week, he was visiting patients all day, from the morning to the afternoon or even to late evening, visiting friends or no friends or any kind of sick person, any kind of people with difficulties, no? Then I was sitting there beside the room where he was visiting the people with one table with these Tibetan pills. And there, Lama Gangchen's translator, which at that time was Claudio Chipulo, he used to give me a list of remedies. And then I prepared the remedies in the plastic bags, and I used to give to the people. For me, it was really amazing to see how people enter with all the heavy mind, I'm suffering, I'm sick. And then they were so light, coming out smiling and very joyful. No? I was so amazed about how can people be transformed in that interview, just one interview for, 15, 10 minutes, no?
Really?
And they came out so transformed.
All the people you were watching, all these people coming to see Rinpoche, you're watching them.
Yeah, I was giving them the medicines, the remedies, no? I was talking to them and explaining them how to take the medicines and all this, no? Then I could feel how different they were, no?
Yeah, their spirits were uplifted.
Yeah. I met Lama Gangchen in that occasion. I went there, my personal interview, and immediately, I didn't follow an advice of a friend who told me, please write down everything that Lama Gangchen tells you. Write down everything. I didn't. I remember a few tips, but I want to keep in my heart for me because they were so simple but so direct that really I am still trying to realize them. I'm still working on them since 33 years, no? The thing that was so clear for me, it was that I felt incredibly well and happy as never. Then I told Rinpoche one day, I would like to travel with you. He said, this is not possible because I'm a poor Lama. I have no money. Sometimes I need to sleep in the same room with my translator and this and that. I said, no problem, Rinpoche. I got a van with one mattress. I can sleep in my van. I got my pension. I can support myself. I can pay my bills. No problem. I'm not going to be a burden for you. I just want to help you. I want to travel with you. I want to help you in the way I can. He didn't answer me. But the last day, when he was leaving the city, he gave me one parcel, a box of incense, and he said to me, please bring this to me to southern Spain. Then I felt so happy because I felt like, okay.
He gave you a job.
Yeah, he admitted me.
Accepted you.
Accepted me, exactly. Then from there, he went to Madrid. From Madrid, he went to Granada. In Granada, we met again. From Granada, he went to Valencia, Barcelona, Nice, then Switzerland, Holland, Germany, Belgium, Italy. I was all this way traveling with him.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you were able to drive in your van. You drove yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Rinpoche was not always in my van. He was traveling by train, by other cars, sometimes even by plane. But I was always with my van and the luggage. I was bringing Rinpoche luggage, all this, and many things. my wheelchair, of course, with a mattress to sleep, and then I used to eat in the restaurants or whatever, no?
Yes.
And I used to go to the same places that Rinpoche used to go and help him in whatever I could do, no? After that, I went to Milano, and that was the year that Rinpoche was moving from Porta Vercellina to Via Marco Polo. He was living in Porta Vercellina in one flat, and another flat for the assistants and secretaries or whatever. And then he moved from there to Via Marco Polo, which was a bigger center, no?
Yes.
And then I helped with my van to make the removal from the many things from here to there, this, that. And then I heard that he was going to Borobudur. Then I thought, no, Borobudur is too much for me. I cannot go there because I never been there.
Borobudur, Indonesia.
In Indonesia. But I said, I go to Kathmandu, because Kathmandu, I already have been in Kathmandu in 86 and 85, and India. Then I said, okay, I go to Kathmandu. And then I went with him, and I was in his house, and one retreat there, and many other things. But yeah, this was the time I met him, yeah.
Incredible. Many people who can walk normally don't want to go to travel to some of these places. You know, going to Kathmandu is not easy.
No.
And even driving throughout Europe like you did, sleeping in a van. You're like a real warrior to be able to do this and knowing that you're handicapped. Incredible. What was it about Rinpoche that had you want to do this, that had you want to follow him? What was his qualities that you said you had goosebumps and you've never felt that before, but what was those qualities that made you feel that way?
Honestly, my main privilege is to have been able to live with him, because at the end I became like a translator for him. I translate him into Spanish. And as you know, I traveled with him many times in Spain from different cities, and in South America, and even in the United States. I was in Miami also, and translating in Miami to the Cuban community to Spanish.
Yes,
Rinpoche,
big Spanish community.
Then this example of life is the most treasure I got from him. Not so many books, not so many things. His qualities, well, of course, it was a living experience. For example, he used to say many times, try to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. No. Then many Dharma sentences everywhere, but he was a living experience on how to do that. No. He was entirely working and moving, and the first one who never stopped working, I mean, when he used to come to Spain, maybe spend here 1 week, I was exhausted after 1 week. All the people who were working with him, we were exhausted. And then he follows to the next place, maybe Italy or maybe another country, and continue the same way of life. No, he was with an extinguishable energy. No?
Unextinguishable, limitless.
Yeah, exactly. For me, this is one quality really shows me a lot about him. No,
extraordinary. Yes.
Yeah, because if you see somebody who talks a lot and give teachings, but then they has a very private life, you never know what this person does, and is always protected for his retinue, whatever. Some doubts comes to the people's mind. But Rinpoche used to sleep with the door open. He used to eat with us. He used to talk and go to swimming. By the way, he learned to swim in Spain. I remember.
Ah, really?
Yeah, because we organized a Dharma holidays. Because he said, okay, let's do not only Dharma holidays. Then people come, they can go to the beach and can swim, and then we make some teachings, some meditations, and some healings, and all together. No, then we have a flat for him. We have 2 flats, one for him, another one for the assistants. No,
yes,
translator or secretary, whatever. And then we have swimming pool. After he was leading the practices or giving some talks or making some healings or whatever, he used to go to swim, no? And then he was swimming, and when he came back, I remember very well, he said, I'm not very good swimmer. I'm glue all the time. I'm taking the water. You shouldn't do like this. You shouldn't drink samsara water. You should let samsara water like outside your body. Not drink it. Not take the suffering. Don't drink the suffering of the samsara. Let the suffering outside.
Wow.
Then this kind of small things, you can see how he was doing it.
Teaching in every moment, in every situation.
Yeah.
Giving this wisdom.
Yeah.
He was very serious.
Oh, yeah.
But then there were other times like this you're talking. He was so playful, right? And brought so much joy to learning.
Yeah.
So he learned how to swim in Spain. Well, it's such a beautiful story.
And the point of view he has for me was like, oh, this is a special man, because you could just asking him about a problem, even without any answer, just his silence. His silence was like a thunderous.
Yeah, thunder.
He was keeping himself silent, but in the other way, he was helping you to listen to yourself. When you was explaining to him, oh, I have a problem with this or problem with that, you were explaining the problem and you were realizing, but this is a stupid thing. This is nothing. This is a very silly
Mm.
problem. Then he just listen to you, yes, 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 tell me, yes, yes. He was listening and allowing you to find or your own solution, giving you a completely different perspective from the other point of view. No,
Yes.
for me, this kind of skillful means she showed, for me, they were amazing. No, it was really, really very practical. For me, it was incredibly practical.
Yes. I love this example that you just gave, that his silence was like thunder.
Yeah,
It was like that. And in his silence, kind of a mind to mind, he would
yeah,
show, like you just said, show what you're thinking and how you're seeing this is so stupid. And then let's see it another way. That's going to give you more vitality and life and joy and more peace.
yeah. I understood sometimes that people didn't get him very much. I mean, people didn't understand him. He was so simple, so direct, so natural. Many people were expecting, like a scholar who can explain in a perfect
Mm.
English and can give the teachings completely structured and this. No, he wasn't like this. He was just sometimes sitting in the throne and explaining about any kind of daily thing, which has such a skillful perspective. It was giving you an example of your own life in many ways. No, then I said to him, Rinpoche, I think people doesn't understand you. Yes, that's why you are my translator. No, no, it's not for that, Rinpoche. It's not for that. They don't get the meaning. You are giving so deep talks, but if they don't have the connection with you, I remember one day he said, if you don't have the connection with the Lama, then you can get something like a book or something like a beautiful teaching, but you don't transform yourself. And Buddhism is to change your mind, to transform your mind. For me, it
Mm.
was a perfect experience of how to link both sides, the relative reality where we live and the ultimate reality is this kind of enlightened reality or whatever. Because the union of both extremes is in the relation with others. The way with you relate with others, this is the proof of how you connect both extremes, this ultimate extreme and this the secondary reality.
Yeah, reality and mundane reality.
Yeah, that's why he was so many times speaking about you should take care about your five senses, because your five senses put you in connection with others. Your eyes, your voice, your touch, the way you speak, the way you think. All these things are the proof that you are really connecting your reality in this moment with the ultimate reality. No? To speak about these five senses is so simple, but so universal at the same time that for many people it's like, this is nothing. Okay, yes, okay, talk with peace, look with peace,
Yeah.
touch with peace. What is the precious of Dharma in these teachings? You could feel, but this is so deep, because if we do that, we are transforming our life in every moment.
Every moment. I've said this several times before in our podcast episodes. Rinpoche would always say to my husband, Rick, every time he saw him, relax and enjoy. And these are two very simple words. And to your point, maybe someone would say, that's so simple. What's so special about that? Relax and enjoy. Everyone talks about that. But yet to actually do that and live one's life where our mind is more relaxed, less pushing, less inner conflicts, really relaxing the mind and the body, of course, and then learning how to really enjoy one's life. I mean, he was a typical type A personality, pushing, pushing, pushing in professional sports, always pushing, pushing and working. And he didn't know how to do relax or enjoy. And Rinpoche slowly over the years showed him, how to actually have this perspective. He always said the words, but then he would show us, if we made the effort to practice, show us, and then actually have that experience. So I think I want to go back to what you said about the silence is thunder, because I was thinking about many, many, many people I introduced to Lama in the US and work at the United Nations and all the programs that we organized. Thousands of people followed him. So thousands of people At some point, maybe they didn't initially understand what he was saying, but over time, the realization comes, the experience comes of living more peacefully and having this
Yeah.
more positive perspective. And several times I brought people on retreat with Lama. And they would, like all of us, especially in the beginning, I don't understand anything. What does this mean? But, you open your heart and you absorb it. And then they'd come back to their home. They come back
Mm.
to America and their home, and they would be silent for months. There would be this quietness in them. And I observed this. And then, slowly, I'd see that they would change the way they worked or change their perspective on their, relationship with their family, or had more greater purpose in what they wanted to do in their life and live more peacefully, and then practice Dharma. This way that Rinpoche worked that was so magical.
Yeah, because it's not easy to really accept that what we experience, we are always in there. It's not separate from us. It's not that this person is acting with me in this way and this and that. No, I'm related to that person. I mean, everything that happens to me, I'm into it. Then,
Yes.
if you change your relation with your world, your eyes, your touch, your senses in general, then you are changing completely your reality. Even sometimes Rinpoche was very direct. I remember once he said, anger produces accidents very seriously. And I said, it's true.
Really?
Yeah, when I got my accident, I was very angry, very angry.
Or that time of your life?
No, that very night.
Really?
I was very angry for many different reasons that Rinpoche touched it in the first meeting. He just expressed it immediately. Honestly, it happens to me all my life. When I'm angry, something happens. I mean, anger, if you don't really learn how to deal with that energy could be really, really dangerous, no?
Very destructive. Yes.
Very destructive. Rinpoche was not always so silent or so sweet. Sometimes he was very clear and very serious when he said, for example, if we were aware about the negative thoughts we have during one day, we will be terrified. We will be in such a panic, because if we were aware about our thoughts, mostly we have negative thoughts. Mostly we have negative way of relating with others and this and that and that. Then luckily, maybe sometimes, he said, I remember, maybe sometimes we are not conscious about that to protect ourselves.
Mm.
The lack of consciousness sometimes is a protection. If we are clear about our life, then we should be really in a hurry to change it, because it's really dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes he was tough like this, no?
Yeah. And showing us the urgency of why it's important to practice and to observe the mind and to train our minds and be aware of what's happening in our mind through our thoughts. But I think for many people, at least in Western culture, we don't make the link between my negative thoughts and what's happening in my life.
Exactly.
Like this interdependence and the law of karma. So this wisdom that Buddhism shows us is so helpful to make that link. And then once we understand this, that, oh, wow, if I continue with this anger or this negative thoughts, then I'm going to continue to have accidents, or I'm going to continue to lose my friends, or I'm going to continue to have bad health. If we understand that, then we're more motivated to practice, don't you think?
Absolutely. That's why he used to use these kind of easy examples. Oh, you need to buy in the positive thought supermarket.
Positive thought supermarket.
Yeah, he used to give this kind of, let's say, modern examples, but of such a deep meaning. Because actually, if we have positive thoughts, this is really so powerful. And then this is for example, when something is wrong. Okay, it happens, it's wrong. Let's accept it, open it, embrace it. Now, let's try to put in the side of the solution. How could we make things better or solve the situation, or which is the best solution we can take now? I mean, we should stop fighting against our own reality.
Yes.
When you become a disabled, like in my case, this is so difficult to understand, because that means, okay, my body is like this. My difficulties are helping me, are not blocking me. This is such a difficult lesson to learn, even after so many years of experience and disability. I mean, that is always open, this subject, no? This subject of, okay, accept it, embrace the situation, and which is the solution side.
Yes.
This for me is so important. And Rinpoche was also putting into this easy sentence, no? Be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Accepting our situation or whatever situation we find ourselves in, maybe something in the workplace or something with our family or a disability, to be able to accept. I mean, that's one level.
Yeah.
And then the next level that really transforms the life is when you say, oh, there's actually a real positive in this. I can live my life more freely. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these two things are so powerful when we train our minds to see this. I think this is what one of the real powers of Lama was, since he was such a high being, enlightened being, that he had this ability to help us see this.
Yeah.
Accept the situation, then see what the positive is in the situation. By ourselves, maybe it would take eons to get there.
Yes.
But he had this incredible ability to show us and then have us have that experience that transforms us.
For me, I feel like an orphan now since he
Mm.
left in the first and in this body, because if his energy comes back, it's going to be different. But the connection I have with the Lama Gangchen Tulku Rinpoche is gone in the person we met in this life, no?
Yes.
And this orphan feeling I have is because I still miss just to recognize and to deal with the subtle energies. And this is all the Tantra part. All the Tantra part is related to subtle energies. I somehow recognize them, but I cannot master them. I cannot work with them. To practice this subtle energy part of the Dharma is still far in my experience. Lama Gangchen, I'm sure he would much more time in with us, would continue sharing with us how to master those energies, no?
Yes.
And I miss this part. I do my practice of self-healing every day, but I'm pretending to do the practice. I'm a pretender. I'm not a real practitioner, because to receive an initiation means that you feel such a strong joy with emptiness together that all negativities dissolve. And I don't get that. Not yet. I'm working with that. But this part is really the real goal, because this could transform the more gross part easier. To transform this subtle part, this is for me the real goal of my practice, no?
Yeah, I also think that we had, Cozy said this to me shortly after he left his body. We just thought he would live forever.
Yeah.
We thought we had all this time, right? And that, okay, I'll get to it, or I'll do that, I'll deepen my practice later, or he'll be around forever. So we have time to do. And it was such a shock for all of us, I think. When he left his body, it was, oh, wow, we don't have forever. Yeah. And me too. I think it's natural that we, our best friend, he was our best friend, and our mama and our papa and our teacher all in one. Well, many people, and myself included, look back and go, oh, I wish I had gone on that trip. I wish I'd spent more time with him. I wish I had, just been in his company more, followed his teachings more. I think we all have that regret that we wish there was more or, deeper.
But even now, when I remember him, and I said, oh, how he would react in this situation, what he would say in this situation, or even in dreams. Sometimes happens to me by night when I'm sleeping, no? But this part of sharing with him so many different experiences is what gives me this treasure that I can take sometimes a small piece of jewel from there again, no? Because I didn't get at that time, but if I try to apply this example in this very experience I'm having in these years, for example, in this time now, the present time, then even from there I can get a benefit. From his absence or from him, I can get this benefit. Yeah.
Chunga Chempo Daini.
Shona Chempo Daini.
Semjen Dunga Tarjisho.
Senchen Duna Tajisho.
Kabacho Samieso.
Kabacheva Sangisho.
Chodan Zinji Shuju.
Shoda Zinji Shogyuchi. Great sound of Dharma, eliminate the suffering of sentient beings. May it uphold the meaning of Dharma for inconceivable eons to come.
Damarani, the Parani, the Sambarani, the
Buddha
Savabuddha,
Chitta Kutsalini Prana Parami Ananda Sabhava Benza Satari Daya Santo Kane Ho 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 Ho.
So, now you need your body sound with the speech sound. I'm picking, also other sound exists everywhere, but I'm picking this sound. It must be another singing bowl, more than mantra, more than meditation, giving something to sound.
He's always in your heart, always and always will be. You know, he's such a deep relationship you have with him. It's not over. It's continue.
Yeah.
Continue forever. He promised us
Yeah.
until enlightenment.
Yeah. And I pray every night that he comes back.
And that we have the good fortune and the karma, which you do, given that such a deep relationship, that we meet him and we get to travel again and be together again. I have this mug, this tea mug.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Rinpoche used to love tea. So many years ago, 2018 maybe, or 17, I don't remember. I bought this mug on the Chinese New Year. It has dragons on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was at this one shop that was celebrating the Chinese New Year and has all these dragons on it and has a lid on it. It's a very beautiful mug. And I saved it and I said, okay, one time soon, Rinpoche will come to America and I want to invite him to my house and we do some teachings and we have many people come. You know, maybe a time when he comes to see Trinjan Rinpoche or Kunten Lama. So I saved this mug, right? And then about 6 months ago, and I had it in my basement with some other Dharma things. And so about 6 months ago, I found it still in the box. And I looked at this mug and I said, oh my goodness. You know, Rinpoche left his body. I never had this opportunity to have him come to my house. I mean, he came to my apartment when I lived in New York City many times, but he never came here in New Jersey where I live now. So I took the mug and I said, you know what I'm going to do with this mug? Instead of being sad that he didn't come here and be able to drink out of this mug, I'm going to take this mug and I'm going to put it in my kitchen in my cabinet. And every time I open the cabinet, I'll see the mug and I'll pray that his next life, when he's reincarnated, whether he's a little boy or a little girl, whatever, that he comes to my house for a blessing and we do maybe a teaching and maybe we can go to Trinjan Rinpoche's place and Kuntan Lama's place. I have this whole story, right? So I make this wish every day when I see this mug in my kitchen cabinet.
Yeah, that's great. Yes.
Yes, that he comes back.
This is how to use objects like to remind us things, positive things, and like objects of refuge or objects of positive wishes. Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Tell me about this continuation. This is really something very, very unique to Tibetan Buddhism. And you know, as a Dharma teacher and translator for Lama, so many years, you have such a deep connection. Can you tell our listeners, because I'm sure this is something people are really interested in, what is this continuation of, you know, that we say that the Lama will come back and reincarnate? What is that tradition in Tibetan Buddhism?
A couple of months ago, I was discussing with a friend of mine who is a philosopher, a teacher of philosophy. He passed me a podcast, by the way, in David Hume. David Hume was a Scottish philosopher who denied the law of cause and effect. He denied it. And he said, no, cause and effect cannot be proved. We cannot make sure that tomorrow the sun is going to rise. Nobody can assure that for us. We cannot predict that springtime or summertime is going to come. Nobody can tell us that. Nobody can assure that it's true. Then I was discussing with him. They say, okay, a law in science is a kind of principle that you can prove it at any time, in any moment. This is a law, the law of gravity or any other physical law. Then the law of cause and effect, you cannot prove it. It's true you cannot prove it. But for me, it's like a conjecture, something that you need to have to make reality have a sense. For example, if I go to the supermarket, I'm making the shopping now, since my wife cannot get out from the house, then I go for shopping. Normally she does that, but now I'm doing the shopping. I don't shop for one night. I shop for 1 week because I suppose I'm going to live for 1 week.
Yes.
Nobody can prove that I'm going to live for 1 week, but I buy every kind of thing for 1 week or maybe even more.
Yes.
What does it mean? We need to think that our life is going to continue in a way. This is from the scientific point of view. But the reality is a little bit different, because in our experience, I know if I push this table, my wheelchair go backwards. I mean, there is an action and reaction everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere is an action and reaction. And it's not the same if you die helping others or if you die killing others. It's impossible that it's going to continue in the same way. Even if you die in this very moment, you are killing somebody. Or if you die in the moment, you are helping somebody. Your energy cannot go in the same direction. This is logically predictable.
Doesn't make sense.
No, doesn't make sense. You cannot prove it. It's true. You cannot prove the energy continues. You cannot prove the energy of this person is going to transform in the other person or in the other energy in the future life and this and that. No, this is true. You cannot prove it, but it's quite coherent. And this is one point. And from the Tibetan point of view, I think Tibetans are very skillful.
Yes.
The best way to create a special being is the tulku system. Okay, you are a lama, a clever lama, and then you choose a clever boy, because you can see this boy is a clever, and you say, okay, this boy in his previous life with this other master. The family of the boys are so happy. Then you take this boy to the monastery, you train him in the lineage of the previous lama, you teach him or her, you train him or her, practice meditation since he or her is 5 years old. When this person has 20 years old, for sure is a special person.
Because they've had all this training.
Yeah, then it's a very skillful way of creating a real special being.
Someone who's really going to benefit others.
Yeah, you can feel when you go to India or Nepal and you are in an assembly of Tibetan monks, you can look at them and you can see that the tulkus, they have a special light. They have a special something special. Okay, maybe normal people also have that special thing, no? But for me, the Tibetan, it's quite skillful, this way of choosing a tulku in the way they do. But if I say all these two aspects of the situation we are talking about, I don't know if the tulku system is really, really convenient for this 21st century. I don't know, because we nowadays, it's very difficult that we follow one or two things. You know, with this social media, with this, we have one computer in our back. Everybody can say anything. And if you got followers, you have a kind of true, even if you say a stupid thing, people can follow you. And nowadays, we are in a market where everybody can say anything. Anybody has followers. Anybody can create doubts, and anybody can create criticism about this, about that. We are in a very confusing moment in the human history.
Yes.
Nowadays, if you choose one tulku in this person, another group can choose the same name for another tulku, and maybe you have 2, 3, 4 tulkus, like it happens with the Panchen Lama or the Karmapa, or happens to so many lamas, no?
Yes.
I don't know if nowadays is the best way of choosing a special, let's say, you're going to continue the lineage or whatever, no?
The lineage. Mm-hmm.
The energy exists, and the energy of the person who is trained in the lineage of our Lama. Of course, if a boy can follow all this process, of course it's going to be Rinpoche's energy. I'm sure it's going to have Rinpoche's energy. It's going to be a different person. It's not going to be the same Lama, maybe as completely different aspects, but for sure it's going to have the same, let's say, power, lineage, wisdom, for sure.
Well, fortunately, we have these great masters like Chinjan Rinpoche, and Gonsa Rinpoche, who are really keeping the tradition pure, and the training pure. Yes.
As Lama Michel said several times, no, if we practice and realize the practices in our own life, this is the best way to keep alive a lineage, no? That the followers, the students, the followers of Lama Gangchen, they realize, they show in their lives, they are really expressing, making true what he taught, what he showed. For example, this is something that for me is so important, no? Even if we are orphans, now is the time to prove what we really learn or not. It's not time to be like a child going with Rinpoche hand and being led by him. No, it's time to, okay, now I need to put into practice what I learned.
All the things he taught us.
Yes.
Everything. He gave us everything.
Exactly. Now is the time to put that in motion.
Yeah.
This is our moment. Then, okay, I feel orphan, but in another way, it's a challenger for me. Okay, I need to put anything that I got from him, make it true, make it real, make it a kind of realization, if I may say that.
Apply it to our daily life.
This is for me the best way to keep a lineage alive. Because Rinpoche was so direct. He said, the religion for the 21st century is going to be peace. This is more true than ever. Not only inner peace, but environmental peace and social peace. Nowadays, so important.
Yeah.
You know, the retreat center we are developing in southern Spain, Serinyong, we invited him there in 1991. He came there with Francesco.
Ago.
Yeah, and you know what he says? He says, the water of this place is very pure. You should try to really, this water is going to be so precious in the future. You should take care so much of this source of water, the spring, because we have a natural spring water. Now in Spain, there is a drought in the agricultural, in the cities, in everywhere. The water is becoming more and more precious. And then we have there a constant fluid of water, because we are in the range of Sierra Nevada, a water which is coming from the rock and coming from the stones. And we have never dry that spring, never.
Really?
And everywhere we have around, everybody has difficulties with water. We have a lot of water.
Wow, at Serinyong.
Yeah, then Rinpoche said that. The first time he came there, he made a puja, purifying, and then he said also, okay, now people needs more help in the cities. Maybe you need to go to help people in the cities, in the city Dharma center. And then in the future, this place is going to develop. But now you need to go to the city, because actually we were very immature in many aspects. We were just two couples, and we have so many problems among us. We didn't do anything, actually. We had an old house, and the house fell down. I mean, was destroyed by a fire. I mean, nothing could happen because we don't have no energy, no money, no clear ideas, nothing.
This is the house you had near Serinyong, you mean?
Well, now it's a ruin.
I see.
We have a modern house, completely done, completely finished, very good quality, that we bought last year.
Yes.
With all the Dharma friends. They make donation, and we bought the house, which is a quite big house, 700 square meters, and there is our Dharma center there. Now we got the permission for the natural park to rebuild the ruin, which is very complicated because this is a protected area. They don't give permission to make new houses. But since this was a house in the 80s and it was destroyed and this and that, we make a project. And now we got the permission to rebuild it.
Wow, congratulations. Fantastic.
2 months ago. We are waiting now for the conditions. They are going to put the conditions, how many square meters, or how many this, how many that. But we got the permission, no? And Rinpoche was really wise because he gave us, regarding to this Dharma center, this Serinyong, this retreat center in the mountains, he said, you know, this place should be mostly for the people from the city who can relax, can come here and relax and experience the elements, experience the rhythm of the elements. The second bunch of people would be the people who is interested in ecology, in learn how to recycle, in learn how to plant trees and reforestation, this and that, and also to the Dharma practitioners. But honestly, Leila, I should tell you, he put more emphasis in the two first groups, in the group of city people who goes there to experience silence or
retreat.
Not necessarily spiritual retreat, just to get in touch with nature. And also the ecological people, the people who is very much involved in reforestation, in taking care of the water, taking care of the purity of the land, learn how to recycle, take care of the animals, of the birds. You know, more these two groups than the people who does a strict retreat of 3-year retreats and this and that. Those people, he didn't put so much emphasis in that. Honestly, I was asking him, but Rinpoche, this center, how? Because he was so enthusiastic about this center, no?
Yes.
But this idea of the peace like a religion, of the work for the general people, giving them the chance to go to the mountains and relax and be for a while without mobile phone, without internet, without movies, cars, pollution, this busy way of life, of the city way of life, no? To give these people this chance is what Rinpoche was more or less telling me. It was amazing.
It's so interesting that he had this vision so many years ago, as you said, 1991, and then now all this is coming to fruition.
Yeah.
And you were also with Lama at the beginning of Albignano in Italy.
Yes.
Our main meditation center, because I remember going there when I think it was 1999, 2000, when Rinpoche first bought this place. You were one of the first people there to develop it.
In my van. I was the first who slept there in my van in the garden. Then when the cold weather came, I moved inside the house because the house, we couldn't open the house because the gas pipeline was somehow broken and they didn't know from where they couldn't open the gas. Then the weather there is quite cold. Then I slept in one cupboard.
It was like a closet, right?
Yeah, a closet.
I remember this. Yeah, yes, I remember this. It's where the shop is now. Then it was the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
And also your room.
Yeah,
the little
my
closet.
Because it was a perfect closet because I could put just one bed. My wheelchair remained outside the closet, but I closed the door, and then with one electric heater was enough because with just one closet with an electric heater.
Incredible.
And the bed was enough. For me, Rinpoche invited me to his house. I was living in his house at the beginning. But as you remember, his house has no lift. And at that time, the ground floor was open. Was not any room in the ground floor, just the garage. And then it was the first floor and the second floor. No, all the time people used to carry me up through the steps so heavily and so difficult. And I was not feeling very, very well. And then I said, Rinpoche, it's very tiring for me and for the people to bring me up, down. No problem, we help you. Yes, but Rinpoche, no. Then I say, I go to the center. Really? Yes, I go there. Then I moved there. I started with the van. Then I moved to the closet. Then one friend who was around helped me we bought a small kitchen. I started to make some food there. And then in the shop, at the beginning was a fire in the center of the shop.
I remember that. Yes.
Lighting that fire. We used to receive in the weekend some people and make some Dharma talks and start slowly like this, no?
Yes. And I remember, Jose Maria, the first time I came to Albagnano to see Rinpoche, and I remember, I think I might have called you on the phone from New York where I was living at the time. And something about, you said, well, there really isn't a restaurant here for food. I said, well, how do I eat? What do I do for food? And you kind of like said to me, oh, silly girl, there'll be food. Don't worry about the food. And I remember getting off the phone going, wait a minute, I got to know where the food is going to be. I didn't have quite the capacity like you do to rough it.
Because I couldn't escape, With my disability, I cannot escape. This is another point for me for the spiritual seekers. Don't get caught up in comfort. This is very important for me because we are used to, I have my room, I need silence, I need this, I need that. So many needs. Then we are all the time looking for our comfort, protection. I need this. If you don't get caught in that, you really are more free, much more free to go anywhere.
Yeah, much more flexible. Yeah, that was a big teaching for me from Rinpoche. I remember him saying that in the early days when I started traveling with him to Tibet and Nepal, India, and he said, for Americans, it's very difficult to travel because you're so used to luxury. Your lifestyle is so luxurious. And it's very difficult because, like you say, I need this comfort. And then when you don't have the comfort, you suffer. Your mind gets unsteady and complaining all the time. So that was a really big teaching for me, to learn how to just be flexible and to be more simple, not to have so much comfort.
Yeah.
And actually in my house in Bay, when I bought the house in Bay, in I think 2001 maybe, I bought this house. Old style houses, as you know, in Europe. Well, actually, I think my house was a hotel in the early days. So the bathroom, you had to go outside and go up the stairs to the bathroom.
Easy.
And so, and in the wintertime, as you know, it was very cold there. There's no heat, and there was no heat in the bathroom. And I remember making a very clear intention that I wouldn't change that so that I could be with discomfort. I could be with and be okay with this kind of discomfort. Compared to America, we live in like 5-star environments, So I put a little heater in the bathroom, like an electric heater in the bathroom, and I'd, plug it in as soon as I would get there. And it was a training. It was a mind training for me to be okay with, not to have all this physical comfort.
Yeah, and I tell you, I'm not so brave. The only thing is I cannot escape. Otherwise I would escape many times. And I experienced with Rinpoche this concept of surrendering, because, as you know, he was tireless, never ending the speeches or teachings, and
tireless, yeah.
tireless, yeah, more practice
Yeah.
and more practice, and this do that, now do that, now do the. I was translating. I was sometimes so tired. I was, oh, Rinpoche, please finish. I cannot endure. I think to myself, no, I cannot do it anymore. He continued. Now, may all beings be, may all medicine be peaceful, and may that, more sentences, more. Then, in a certain moment, I thought to myself, okay, what is going on here? Rinpoche wants to continue. He knows. Why? Then, okay, for me, it's fine. I accept it. And once I accept it, much more energy comes to me.
Came. Wow.
Then, once I surrender, then I can endure it 2 more hours, no problem. If I'm resisting myself, then I'm exhausted. If I'm fighting, oh, this is no, please, oh, I have back in my pain, oh, this and this, then my energy goes away. If I surrender, then, phew, I don't know what, but it's like a new shower. I mean, I fresh.
Revitalize.
Yeah, I revitalize. Then this is an experience that with Rinpoche was amazing, not to surrender, just to surrender.
Incredible.
Accept, embrace. Okay, this is what is going on. Accept it, and all the obstacles disappeared.
Yeah. Another example of this. Remember in Albignano, for several years, we had this 24-hour or all night long Tara recitation and prostrations that we would do on New Year's Eve. And so we'd have our dinner and we'd have our celebration, bring the countdown, and then we'd be in Nagompa and midnight, 12:30, something like this, until the next morning, 10 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the next morning, we'd be reciting mantras. So one year we were doing Tara. And so this was, I think, maybe the third retreat that my husband Rick came with me. And he said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this recitation, which for most people, if you're new to the Dharma, you're like, I'm going to bed. It's already 2 a.m. or something. I'm going to bed, right? And so I said, okay, I do it with you. But I had a doubt in my mind that I would do it until 9 o'clock the next morning. I had this doubt in my mind. And I was also like, it'd be okay if I didn't, I said to myself. But anyway, he took on this challenge and mantra after mantra after mantra the whole night until 9 o'clock in the morning. I left maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember. And I went back to the room and to sleep. I was so impressed with this kind of discipline, but also the context, that Rinpoche gave us. I think this context of you can expand yourself. We can be much more limitless than we think we are, where we expand our limited view of ourselves. And so this example of you, when you remembered the context.
Yeah.
And I think those of us who traveled with him and worked with him for many years, don't you think we wanted to be like him? We wanted to have his qualities, right?
Definitely. Yes.
So what were the 3 most extraordinary qualities that Rinpoche had?
For me, first one, compassion. I mean, he was accepting people that for me were difficult to accept. I remember somebody who was really mistreating his wife, and he gave him a hug. I was so in conflict inside myself. I said, how can he embrace this person and say, no, okay, it's okay, no problem, when this person is mistreating his wife? But this person changes completely. This person starts to cry and cry and cry and cry. And then this acceptance, this compassion going beyond your own projections really changes this person. No? Then for me was an example of if you accept the other, even if the other makes negative things, changes something. No? Then the skillful means of Rinpoche were amazing. When you have a difficult, Rinpoche, I have this difficult, then he gives you an answer, and I don't know why this happens. These things happen. It was like a magic. I tell you, I'm not a believer. I'm a rationalist person, but I have so many proofs that he said, okay, no, do it like this. No, do it like that. Yes, not. Then things happen in such a strange way for me to understand.
Yeah, miraculous.
Exactly. This is the definition of miracle, no? When you something happened that you don't understand why these things happen.
Yes.
Because if you see the relation between the causes and the effect, you can say, oh, this is because this, because that. But when something happened out of nothing, completely unpredictable, unexpected, nobody was thinking that this could happen, and he said in advance.
Incredible. So many like this.
I was translating for him for many patients in Spain and South America, people who came to him to ask for medical help with several sicknesses. My previous wife, Itziar, was sick of cancer, and she met him in 1991 in Milano. And Rinpoche gave her some pills, gave her some advices, and tell her, don't worry, we are going to meet. When you finish your pill, we're going to meet. And then you ask me for new pills in case you want.
Herbal medicine.
Herbal medicines, then these kind of remedies, the Tibetans they have, just herbals, and then Itziar follow his advice and went to visit him. It happens like he said, everything. He started to do the practices that the Rinpoche advises her. Then she got sick of cancer in 1990, and then she passed away, I think it was 2015, and she didn't follow any, let's say, official medicine. They advised her to go for surgery, and they advised her to go for chemotherapy and radiotherapy and all these therapies. She didn't follow none of those therapies, only her own practices and her remedies and this herbal remedies and all these kind of things. And she had a very good quality of life until 5 years ago. She passed away.
Yeah.
Rinpoche used to tell me, oh, how can I tell to this person this? I cannot tell her that because she's not ready or he's not ready. And for example, I remember once one lady came with several constant infections in the urinary system. And then Rinpoche gave her some practice, some herbal remedies and this and that, and advised her about to drink hot water and this and that. And when she left, Rinpoche told me, how can I tell her that her husband is cheating her? I was like shocked, because how can Rinpoche be so clairvoyant? Clairvoyant can see, because I knew the woman, and it was true.
Yeah.
Many things he could tell us, many things he said, this person is not ready to listen the truth.
Yes.
Then he used to find a skillful mean to lead her or him in the direction of getting healed, getting out of the problem, solving the situation, accepting many times, because I translated so many terrible things happens in the childhood of many people. And Rinpoche used to tell them, make peace with the past, make peace with your traumas of the childhood or family relation or whatever. One of the biggest quality of Rinpoche, this skillful mean. And the third one for me, you name three, this constant presence. He was always present. He was never getting away, resting, forgetting. If he used to go to the beach, okay, he goes to the beach and he goes to a restaurant, but he was always present, even in that moment.
Yes.
Even with everybody was like in relaxing, relaxing, he was present. For me, this quality is really a powerful quality because it shows that his mind was always there.
And you saw him in multiple situations all over the world.
Yeah.
And you say he always had this quality of being present. Incredible, right? Incredible. Such an extraordinary person. So, Jose Maria, if you could give some advice to other spiritual seekers or people who would like to live a more meaningful, purposeful, peaceful life, what advice would you give them?
I don't know if I can give advices, but what I did in my life is try to be as honest as possible with myself, accepting all my difficulties, realities, or all my character or way of life. Because somehow, I don't know if I understood well, but when Rinpoche used to sing, you remember, ego-friendly, ego cut. He used to make a song.
Ego-friendly, ego cut. Yes. Thomas sings this song well.
Yeah, Thomas, yeah, exactly. The way that I like to understand the meaning of that song is first, you need to be friend of your ego. I mean, we don't need to destroy our ego as many people think. No. Our ego is our ally, is our support, is our friend. For example, I'm a very proud person. Then this proud mind helped me so much. Why? Because when I got this disability, for me was unbearable to depend on others for living. I said, I'm going to depend with the help of others for all the rest of my life. No. Then what I did, I went alone to a solitary house in the countryside. I was living there alone in such a difficult conditions.
Wow.
But I was living alone. Why? To really touch the bottom of my situation and try to understand what happened to me and to accept it and to really see until which extent I need help, which extent I can do it for myself. I mean, somehow to see my new capabilities or whatever. This proud mind helped me so much. This proud mind helped me to never surrender. And also, I need to take out the negative part of the proud mind. I don't need to compete. That's why this message of Lama Michel said, no, about humble mind. Okay, humble mind means I'm satisfied with myself without any comparison with anybody.
Yes.
I'm satisfied with my reality, my house, my car, my money, my mental capacity, my wife, all my life. I'm happy with that. To be in love with my real present life is very good quality. Then you feel happy about what you have.
Incredible.
If you get that, you are happy because you are in love already with the people you live, with the situation you live, with your house, everything. No? Then, if anybody gets something better, wonderful. This is Rinpoche's message of rejoicing. No, okay, wonderful. Yes, I'm happy that this person is smarter than me, cleverer than me, or richer than me, or whatever than me. But I'm not comparing with that person. I'm happy in myself. Then, about this practitioner, for me, to be honest with yourself, if you are a very jealous person or very proud person or you are a very angry person or whatever, there is a quality in those negative energies you need to learn about. You need to extract the qualities of those energies and see the positive side and control the negative side, because it has negative side to be proud or to be angry or to be jealous, of course. Then you need to try to separate and control the negative side, but the positive side is a power you got. And this power, for me, is basic in the spiritual development of anybody. For me, this is the most important. Be honest. Be honest. The rest is going to come. If you are honest, you are looking for something. And the second part, as Rinpoche said, try to think positively. Okay, if you don't feel well, okay, you are unhappy or you are painful or you are sick, okay, it's going to pass. Everything pass. Then you take it easy, but don't indulge, maybe is the word. Don't indulge your mind in negative thoughts. Try to avoid that. Then, for me, the mantras, for example, who were impossible to accept in my rational mind, when I traveled with Rinpoche, for me it was like an amazing experience, no?
Yes.
I tell you one story, just maybe for finish. I don't know. Just one story. The first trip with Rinpoche in India, I remember it was 1990. Lama Michel was 8 years old. Was Lama Michel mother and father traveling there? A team of many Italians, with of course Cosi and Rinpoche. And we were traveling by bus. We went to the southern monasteries in Karnataka state. We went to Disera and Drepun, and then we went to Elefanta, and anyway, the long trip by train, by bus.
Yes.
Then for me to travel by bus in India is so tiring, because just to go to see, I don't know, Ajanta, Ellora, those monuments. Even Beppe was helping me. Beppe Negozio was really a strong man helping me all the time.
Yes.
It was so tiring for me, so painful for my back. Anyway, every time I used to sit in the bus, I was destroyed. Then Rinpoche started immediately, Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonala, Janju Bardu Daniga Tara Puja, White Tara Puja. Then we recite White Tara Puja all together. Then after I felt, wow, it's like a shower. I feel fresh. I refresh myself. Then
Incredible.
this was the experience. Okay, something is important here. Then, just to finish, I like so much to sing.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about that. This amazing voice that you have.
We did several concerts in your house.
Exactly. At my house, in my
Yeah.
backyard. And in the Golden Temple.
Yeah, with Francesco, with
Duccio,
Duccio, and who's the guitar?
Massimiliano.
Massimiliano, exactly. Yourself.
One night till I think 2, 3 in the morning, you were all singing and playing the guitar and bringing us into this whole other place of these beautiful Spanish-Italian songs.
I got some pictures somewhere. You remember?
Yes.
Some pictures with
Yes.
the glasses up and down, singing and playing. Yeah.
So the singing of the mantras, given that you play guitar and you're a singer, I mean, you're a very, very accomplished singer, was easy for you then, right? To embrace the mantras?
Yeah, it was very easy to sing, but I didn't believe at the beginning. It was like, okay, this kind of, to recite this kind of thing, I don't know the meaning, what sense it has. I was like rejecting, no? But this is the most skillful way you can find. Because when you're sick, your mind is completely upside down. You cannot sit straight in meditation, in silence, and try to concentrate in your breathing and try to visualize. You cannot do that. When you're sick, you cannot do that. But you can sing. You can sing. You can recite mantras. You can just sing. Or you can put a videotape or a CD or whatever
And listen. Yeah.
and listen. And music can change completely your feeling and your way of experiencing reality in that moment. And this is
Yes. And
so
your
easy.
energy.
It's so easy.
Yes.
Anybody can do that. You don't
Yes.
need to have a long training in meditation. You can start singing one short mantra. Om Mani Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Soha. You can sing in so different way. Then
Yeah.
this is so skillful,
So powerful.
so powerful.
My niece, when she was about maybe 9 years old, I took her and her brother. I was up visiting my family, and we were in my car, and I had on the Tara mantra, Tara CD in my car. I'm humming along. I didn't want to sing so loud because they're young children and they're not familiar with this, but I'm humming along and the mantras are going. And we get to my sister's house and we go into the house, and she says to her mother, my sister, she says, "Mommy, I had such a stomach ache all day long, but then Aunt Lily, she was playing this music, these mantras in the car, and now I feel completely better."
Yeah.
You're 9 years old, right? So, Jose Maria, what is your favorite mantra?
I have many. Depends the feeling. I like the feminine ones. I like the Tara mantra.
Since you have this beautiful, beautiful voice, healing coming through your voice, would you sing just a very, very short part of one of your favorite mantras for us?
You should let me this in advance. I need to rehearse.
You don't need to rehearse. Oh, someone like me has to rehearse who doesn't have such a good voice, but you have this beautiful voice.
Now, I'm going to sing the first one I learned with Rinpoche in San Sebastian,
Yes.
1989,
Okay.
which you know, of course. Om Mani Mani Maha Muni Shakya Muni Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Soha.
Beautiful. Thank you. So we like to ask our guests to close with either a dedication or a prayer, whatever you like to, what you choose. Nimo de la Se, whatever, something to close and kind of a dedication that our conversation bring more peace and happiness to all of our listeners and spread the inner peace teachings of the Buddha and Lama throughout the world to benefit others. There's some dedication you'd like to make?
I want to dedicate to all our friends and encourage them to use the time we still have, and to all beings, humans or not humans, for the better relation with all the humanity, with nature. Nimo dele tsendele, nime gunyan dele kshin, nitse taktu dele pel, kuncho sungi jinjilo, kuncho sungi ngodrupsol, kuncho sungi tashi sho. Dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you so much, Jose Maria. It was such a beautiful conversation, so many insights and beautiful stories. And I know everyone who's listening will be inspired to take it to heart and to open our hearts.
Thank you to you.
Thank you so much, Jose. Wow, such a beautiful conversation with Jose Maria. This conversation was filled with so many jewels and wisdom teachings from Jose Maria and his stories, but also his story about shifting the perspective of what he went through, and living his life in a wheelchair. All these brilliant examples that he gave us of how we could shift our perspective, to live a more joyful life, a more peaceful life. Just really, really brilliant. And one of the takeaways that he shared with us is that the best tribute that we could make to Lama Gangchen for all the gifts that he gave us and how he really helped us to change our lives, to have a more joyful, peaceful, fulfilling life, is to put into practice everything that he taught us. And he gave us so much, so many different teachings, but in particular and especially to make peace with ourselves, be peaceful with ourselves, with people in our lives, with our relationships and our workplace, and with our environment. This social peace, inner peace, environmental peace. So please follow along with us and on our next episodes. And if you have a question, please go to lamahealer.com and you can ask us a question. We may take one of your questions in our future episode. Or if you'd like to be a guest on our show in one of our future shows, if you've traveled with Lama Gangchen for more than 20 years or worked with him, please let us know if you'd like to be a guest. And thanks for joining us for Life with a Lama Healer. You can also follow us on Facebook, Life with a Lama Healer. So until next time, please be well, be peaceful, and thanks for joining us. Lama Kin.